Okay, for this we're going to log and capture some video footage from the HDV camera. So first thing we need to do is to check that the Final Cut Pro is set up to take in HDV footage. So where you can set and check that is in the Final Cut Pro menu, Easy Setup, and you just have to make sure that your format is set to HDV and then it's using the 1080i50 Firewire Basic. And these should work most or all of the time. So once you've set up, go to File, Log and Capture, and it opens up your log and capture window. Now there's three ways that we can capture footage. We can capture a clip, we can capture now, or we can capture batch. Now before we digitize anything, we need somewhere in our browser for our clip to go. So if I'm capturing a clip and I want it to go specifically into a bin that I've created, I can create a new bin, control click on it, and set logging bin. You'll see that the log bin is now set to computer scene. Okay, when you're logging means that you're putting certain information onto your clips so that you'll be able to recognize them later on when you're editing with them. So logging involves information such as name, description, scene, etc., depending on how much detail you want to go into. So the first thing we'll do here is to capture a clip. So the first bit of information here is the reel number. The reel number is by default set to 001. Now that is also the actual number of my tape, so this is what I'm going to leave in here. And if I was on tape 4 or something, I'd put in 004. Now you can put in description, scene, shot, take, and angle, and have each one of these prompt or append the name that the clip takes when it's put in your browser. So if I select these, put in description, scene 1, take 3, angle, int for interior, then you'll see that they're all put up here across the top as the name, and that's what your clip will have when you're editing. Okay, I'll just delete these. And okay, right, so the log and capture window is another view to what's on your tape. So if you hit play or hit the space bar, you start playing footage on the tape. Now you're going to be putting in and out points here to mark the footage on the tape that's going to be captured and brought into the browser. So you do that using the in point and out point buttons, or you can use I and O and spacebar and J, K and L to navigate through the tape as you would on the timeline. You can put in a description, and you can put these in or leave them out depending on how much detail you want to put in. And if you capture the clip, it's going to look between the in and out points that you've created, and it's going to capture that clip in its entirety. So I'll do that first. Obviously spelled sits wrong. Click OK. It puts an empty clip into the browser, goes to where your in point was on the tape, and it's going to fill that clip or capture the media into that clip now so that I can use it to edit. So the unfortunate part of editing from tape-based media is that it's all done in real time. So now I have my clip, sits down, and I can use that to edit. I can drag it onto the timeline and use it. Okay, the next way that you can capture footage is using Capture Now. This is a kind of a rough and ready way to capture footage in that you just hit play, and as it plays, you hit the now, and it will just start capturing from wherever you are. Hit escape to stop it, and you'll see that you have another clip here. Now I didn't name this, which I should have done, so it's just come in as sits down 1. Now the disadvantage of doing this is that you have to literally sit there for the entire tape and capture it and stop it and capture it and stop it. The next way that we're going to look at is called batch capture, and this is probably the best way to work, in that you can put in all of your in and your out points and have a number of empty clips sitting here in your log bin, which you can then set to all capture at once. You can go away, or you can do another job while that's doing its thing. You don't need to be there for the entire process. So I'm going to find, well, first of all I might create myself a new bin, and I'll call it batch. Whoops, no, I don't want to create a new sequence. I want to create a new bin. And I'll set that as my logging bin. And I'm just going to take in a couple of short bits here just so that you can see it happening. Now naturally the clips would be longer, but I want you to see the whole process. So I'll put an in point, an out point. I'll call this something like looks at screen. You can log clip, and it will open up your log clip window, and you can click OK, and you'll see that you have an empty clip here. Not going to capture, I'm just going to keep going. Now again, I'm going to hit my in, my out. This time I'm just going to hit the F2 key, and it will pop up that log clip window. I can select the text and call this one laptop rear shot, and click OK. And this is probably the quickest way of doing it, because when you hit OK it will start playing the footage again. It's a little bit slow to pick up, but there we go. I can hit my I, my O, hit F2, hit OK, and it starts playing. So this is a nice quick kind of fluid way of doing it. Now I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to go to my batch button down here in the bottom right, and it's going to ask me, what do I want to capture? Do I want to capture the selected items in my logging bin, which is this clip here? Do I want to capture all items in my logging bin, which I do? And that's going to capture all of these items in this bin. It's going to ask me, do I want to use handles, which is going to give me a bit of tape before and after my selection. I'm going to leave it at 2, which is fine. Click OK. Now it's going to make sure that I've got the right reel in the tape. So if I had a number of different tapes that I was digitizing from, it would keep prompting me to put in reel 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So I can click continue, and it's going to go to the start of the first clip that I want to capture, and then it's going to capture each one of these empty clips. So I don't need to be here for this process. This is the advantage of doing it this way. Now the HDV cameras can be slightly temperamental in that they can go very, very slowly through the tape on occasion. So you need to, well, nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. It just seems to be a bug, but a lot of the time they'll just work perfectly, and they'll fast forward to the next clip, capture it, next clip, capture it. Sometimes they go a little bit slowly from clip to clip. Okay, so it's done the first two, it's just moving on to the third clip now. And that's it. So it's captured my 3 clips. Click finish, and I can close my log and capture window now if I want, but I'll leave it open for the moment. You can see that the 3 clips now have been captured. Now while I have the log and capture window open, just to point out some of these tabs across the top here, the logging one we've looked at. Clip settings prompts you to say whether or not you want to capture the video and the audio, or just the audio, or just the video. And if you're taking in audio, you can specify whether it's coming in as a stereo file or a dual mono. And this button here is very important in HDV. If you have this selected, it will create a new clip in here for each time that you pressed record and then stopped it. Now, because you want to select the footage yourself afterwards in the editing stage, you want to always make sure that this is deselected. Capture settings is just another way of setting your scratch disk. Okay, that's basically it. So you're logging and capturing, and you have three ways of doing it. The batch is probably the best way to do it, in that you can capture each clip individually and you don't have to sit there through the entire process. But if you just need to do something very quickly, then you can use Capture Now.